We begin tonight with a major problem that could cost Donald Trump and the Republicans the midterm elections. At the Kennedy Center, the traditional New Year's Eve concert has been canceled. As you know, the administration unilaterally renamed the Kennedy Center to include Donald Trump's name.
Donald Trump is absolutely terrified right now as House Democrats file multiple new impeachment resolutions that could set the stage for prison time, and this is not some far-off possibility anymore. There are formal resolutions sitting in the House charging Trump with everything from obstruction of justice to tyranny. There are constitutional scholars saying the Senate can still try Trump even after he leaves office. There are legal experts saying impeachment creates a formal record that prosecutors can use for criminal charges later. And Trump understands exactly what this means. These impeachment articles aren't just about removing him from office, they're building the case that could send him to prison. House Resolution 353, introduced April 28, 2025, lays out 7 articles of impeachment against Trump, 7 articles, including obstruction of justice, usurping Congress's appropriations power, abuse of trade and war powers, violations of the First Amendment, creation of unlawful office, bribery and corruption, and tyranny. The resolution states these high crimes warrant impeachment and trial and removal from office. That's the explicit demand, not investigation, not censure. Removal from office. But real quick, before we get into this, let's be honest, you can't really trust mainstream media anymore. That's why we built National Brief Network to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, please subscribe, because you might think you are, but aren't. Your subscription actually matters here. Alright, let's get into what's actually happening. House Resolution 353 was introduced on April 28, 2025, and the 7 articles it contains are a comprehensive indictment of Trump's conduct. Let me walk you through what each article charges. Article 1. Obstruction of justice. This is familiar from Trump's previous legal troubles. The article alleges Trump obstructed investigations and interfered with legal processes. This is an ongoing pattern, and that ongoing pattern is what makes it impeachable. Article 2. Usurping Congress's appropriations power. The appropriations power belongs exclusively to Congress. Usurping means taking that power without authorization. And Trump has done this repeatedly through emergency declarations and fund transfers. Article 3. Abuse of trade and war powers. Trump has used trade powers through emergency declarations. He's used war powers without congressional authorization. And that lack of authorization is a constitutional violation. Article 4. Violations of First Amendment. The First Amendment protects speech, press, assembly, and petition. The violations alleged are using government power against protected activities. Using power against critics is the pattern documented. Article 5. Creation of unlawful office. This addresses positions created without proper authorization. Creating offices without authorization violates separation of powers, and separation of powers is fundamental constitutional structure. Article 6. Bribery and corruption. Bribery is receiving things of value in exchange for official acts. Corruption is the broader pattern of self-dealing, and self-dealing has been documented throughout Trump's presidency. And then there's Article 7, tyranny. This is the most sweeping charge. Tyranny is the strongest term in constitutional vocabulary. Tyranny means arbitrary and oppressive exercise of power, and accusing a president of tyranny is the gravest charge possible, because tyranny is what America declared independence to escape. Now let me bring the receipts on what the resolution actually says, because the language is explicit. The resolution states these high crimes warrant impeachment and trial and removal from office. Notice that language. Warrant means justify, call for, require. Impeachment is the House vote on charges. Trial is the Senate proceeding, and removal from office is the ultimate consequence. This is an explicit demand for Trump to be removed. Now there's another resolution. House Resolution 537, introduced June 23, 2025. This one focuses on one specific abuse, Trump's unilateral bombing of Iran. The resolution charges Trump with high crimes and misdemeanors over his bombing of Iran without congressional authorization. And here's what makes this resolution so damning. It accuses Trump of unprovoked use of force without congressional authorization and warns that such abuse is facilitating the devolution of American democracy into authoritarianism. Let me break down what that language means. Unprovoked use of force means Trump bombed Iran without justification. Without congressional authorization means Trump acted alone. He didn't get Congress's approval, which is required by the Constitution for military action. And the phrase facilitating the devolution of American democracy into authoritarianism is describing a transformation from democracy to authoritarian rule. And the resolution is saying Trump is accomplishing that transformation. Now here's where it gets absolutely terrifying for Trump. Legal analysts at Just Security and other outlets note that history and prior scholarship show the Senate can hold an impeachment trial even after a president leaves office. Even after. Think about what that means. Impeachment now doesn't have to result in immediate removal to destroy Trump. It creates a formal record, a formal congressional finding of high crimes and misdemeanors. That can be used later. When Trump is out of office, when he loses the legal protection of the presidency, when prosecutors can file criminal charges, when prison becomes a real possibility. Notice what this does. Impeachment itself doesn't send anyone to prison. It's a political process, not a criminal one. But here's what it does do. It creates a formal record of alleged crimes and abuses. Prosecutors can pick up that record later, use it as the basis for criminal investigations, for charges, for trials. Especially on issues like obstruction, bribery, unlawful use of force, all things charged in these impeachment articles. Share this video with everyone you know because this is Trump's nightmare scenario, not just losing office, but losing the legal shield of the presidency and facing real prison risk down the line. Right now, while Trump is president, he has legal protections. DOJ policy says you can't indict a sitting president, but the moment he leaves office, that protection disappears. And all these impeachment articles, all this documented evidence of alleged crimes, it's sitting there, waiting for prosecutors to use, and Trump knows it. That's why he rages every time impeachment efforts gain momentum. That's why he attacks anyone calling for his removal, because he understands the stakes. This isn't just about politics. This is about freedom versus prison. Now let me show you what makes the tyranny charge so historically significant. Tyranny is what the American founders rebelled against. Tyranny is what the Declaration of Independence was written to escape. The entire American constitutional system was designed to prevent tyranny. And now members of Congress are formally accusing a sitting president of tyranny in an impeachment resolution. That's unprecedented. That's the gravest charge possible in American constitutional language. And the resolution is saying Trump's tyranny warrants removal from office. Think about what prosecutors could do with that charge. A formal congressional finding that Trump committed tyranny. That's not a partisan attack. That's an official legislative determination. That's evidence. That can be cited in criminal proceedings. That can be used to prove Trump's intent, his pattern of behavior, his systematic abuse of power, all of it documented in formal impeachment articles. Now let's talk about House Resolution 537 and why the Iran bombing charge matters for criminal prosecution. The Constitution gives Congress the power to declare war, not the president. Congress. And the resolution charges that Trump bombed Iran without congressional authorization. That's a violation of the Constitution. That's usurping Congress's war powers. And here's what makes this devastating. Trump's own Justice Department speech is being cited as evidence. In 2025, Trump gave a speech where he talked about putting critics in jail. His own words, recorded, documented. And now those words are being cited in impeachment articles as proof of his authoritarian intent. Notice what that creates. A pattern of conduct, threatening to jail opponents, defying court orders, bombing countries without authorization, using DOJ as a weapon, all documented, all charged, all creating a comprehensive record of criminality. That record doesn't disappear when Trump leaves office. It sits in the congressional archives, waiting for prosecutors, waiting to be used as evidence, waiting to send Trump to prison. Now here's what legal experts are saying about post-term trials. The Constitution doesn't say impeachment trials have to happen while someone is in office. History shows the Senate has held trials after officials left their positions. The precedent exists. The legal framework exists, which means the Senate could try Trump even after January 2029, even after he's no longer president. Think about what that trial would look like. Witnesses testifying under oath about Trump's crimes, evidence being presented publicly, findings being documented officially, all of it becoming part of the public record, all of it available for prosecutors to use, all of it building the case for criminal charges. Make sure you're subscribed to National Brief Network because we're going to keep tracking these impeachment resolutions and what they mean for Trump's criminal exposure. Because what's happening right now is unprecedented, multiple formal impeachment resolutions, charging systematic criminality, building a comprehensive record, all while constitutional scholars confirm that this record can be used for prosecution later. Trump can't stop this. can't prevent Congress from filing articles, can't erase the record once it's created, can't undo the formal findings. Every resolution filed adds to his criminal exposure. Every charge documented strengthens the case against him. Every piece of evidence cited makes prison more likely. Now let me bring the receipts on what conservative legal scholar Bruce Fein said about Trump's conduct. Fein told the Impeach Trump Again campaign, and I'm quoting, "It is truly astonishing that a president would say, 'I am not sure I have to obey my oath of office.'" And Fein argued that impeachment is the antidote to Trump's authoritarian behavior. Notice that this is a conservative legal scholar, not a Democratic partisan, an expert in constitutional law with credentials in conservative legal circles. And he's calling Trump's conduct truly astonishing. He's saying Trump has suggested he's not sure he has to obey his oath of office. And he's framing impeachment as the cure for the constitutional disease of Trump's authoritarianism. That statement matters for criminal prosecution, because it establishes Trump's state of mind, his belief that he's above the law, his refusal to be bound by constitutional constraints. All of that goes to criminal intent. All of that can be used by prosecutors. All of that makes conviction more likely. Now here's what June 24th, 2025 draft impeachment text shows. House members are refining new articles that specifically target Trump's threats to jail opponents, his defiance of court orders, his efforts to weaponize DOJ. The draft explicitly cites Trump's 2025 Justice Department speech, where he talked about putting critics in jail. Think about what that means. Trump's own words being used against him. Informal impeachment articles, creating an official record that prosecutors can cite, that juries can hear, that judges can consider. Trump gave them the evidence, and they're documenting it, preserving it, preparing to use it against him. Share this with everyone, because here's what the pattern shows. April 28th. First resolution with 7 articles, May 14th. Second resolution. June 24th, draft of new articles circulating. This isn't one effort that failed and went away. This is sustained pressure, ongoing documentation, continuous building of the case, and it's not stopping. More articles will be filed, more charges will be documented, more evidence will be preserved. All of it adding to Trump's criminal exposure, all of it making prison more likely. Now let's talk about what happens if Democrats win the House in 2026, because that changes everything for Trump's prosecution risk. Right now, these impeachment resolutions don't have enough votes to pass. Republicans control the House. They table the resolutions, kill them before they go anywhere. But if Democrats win in 2026, suddenly those resolutions have a majority. Suddenly impeachment articles can pass, can go to the Senate for trial, can create the official record Trump is terrified of. And even if the Senate doesn't convict, even if Republican senators protect Trump again, the trial itself matters. Because all the evidence gets presented, all the testimony gets recorded, all of it becomes ammunition for future prosecutors. Notice what Speaker Mike Johnson admitted. Johnson warned Republicans that if they lose the House, the radical left is going to impeach President Trump. Think about what Johnson just admitted. He's acknowledging that impeachment is a live weapon waiting on the shelf, that impeachment articles are ready, that they're just waiting for the political circumstances to change. That if Democrats win the House in 2026, impeachment will happen. Johnson is basically saying the only thing stopping Trump's impeachment right now is Republican control of the House. And if that control changes, impeachment is inevitable. And impeachment means a formal record, a Senate trial, evidence presented, testimony recorded, all of it preserved for prosecutors, all of it usable in criminal proceedings, all of it bringing Trump closer to prison. Now here's what the Impeach Trump Again campaign represents. Nearly 1 million Americans have signed petitions demanding Congress remove Trump. Nearly 1 million. That's not fringe activists. That's massive public support for removal. That's political pressure that members of Congress cannot ignore. And the campaign is citing specific offenses. Trump's refusal to comply with court orders, his usurpation of Congress's powers, his threats against judges and Democratic lawmakers. These are the new impeachable offenses being cited. These are the charges being documented. These are the crimes that could lead to prison. Think about what prosecutors see when they look at this. Nearly 1 million signatures demanding Trump's removal. Formal congressional resolutions charging crimes. Conservative legal scholars calling for impeachment. All of it creating political cover for prosecution. All of it showing public support for accountability. All of it making it easier to pursue criminal charges without looking partisan. Now let me walk you through what the formal record means practically. When prosecutors decide whether to file criminal charges, they look at the evidence, and impeachment proceedings provide mountains of evidence, witness testimony, documents, expert analysis, all already compiled, all already vetted, all ready to use. That makes prosecution easier, makes conviction more likely, makes prison a real possibility. Notice what Trump faces. Right now, he has the protection of the presidency, but that protection is temporary. It expires in January 2029. And when it does, all these impeachment articles are still there. All this documented evidence is still there. All these formal charges are still there, waiting to be used against him. The bottom line is this: Trump fears prison as new impeachment articles race through Congress, creating a formal record that prosecutors can use for criminal charges once he loses the legal shield of the presidency. House Resolution 353, introduced April 28, 2025, lays out 7 articles of impeachment: obstruction of justice, usurpation of Congress's appropriations power, abuse of trade and war powers, violations of First Amendment, creation of unlawful office, bribery and corruption, and tyranny. The resolution explicitly states these crimes warrant impeachment and trial and removal from office. House Resolution 537, introduced June 23, charges Trump with bombing Iran without congressional authorization. Warns this is facilitating the devolution of American democracy into authoritarianism. June 24th draft shows House members refining new articles targeting Trump's threats to jail opponents, his defiance of court orders, his weaponization of DOJ, citing his 2025 Justice Department speech where he threatened to put critics in jail. Legal analysts at Just Security confirm the Senate can hold impeachment trial after a president leaves office, which means successful impeachment now could be followed by criminal prosecution later. Once Trump is out of power and loses legal shield, impeachment doesn't directly send anyone to prison, but it creates formal record of alleged crimes. Prosecutors can pick up that record later, especially on obstruction, bribery, unlawful use of force. Conservative legal scholar Bruce Fein calls it truly astonishing that Trump suggests he might not have to obey his oath, says impeachment is the antidote to Trump's authoritarian behavior. Nearly 1 million Americans have signed petitions through Impeach Trump Again campaign demanding removal, citing specific offenses, creating massive public support. Speaker Johnson warns if Democrats win House in 2026, impeachment will happen, admits it's a live weapon waiting on the shelf. The tyranny charge is unprecedented. Strongest term in constitutional vocabulary. What founders fought revolution against, now being formally charged against sitting president. The pattern shows sustained pressure. April, May, June filings. Not one effort. Continuous building of case, ongoing documentation. Trump's own words being used against him. 2025 DOJ speech cited as evidence. Creating record of authoritarian intent. If Democrats win in 2026, resolutions gain majority. Can pass. Can go to Senate. Can create official record through trial. Even without conviction, trial presents evidence. Records testimony. Creates ammunition for prosecutors. Post-term trial is constitutionally possible. Precedent exists. Legal framework exists. Senate could try Trump after he leaves office. That trial creates official record. Evidence presented publicly. Findings documented. All available for criminal prosecution. Trump's protection is temporary, expires January 2029. Then all these articles remain. All this evidence remains. All these charges remain. Waiting for prosecutors. The formal record matters. Impeachment proceedings provide mountains of evidence already compiled and vetted, makes prosecution easier, makes conviction more likely, makes prison possible. This is Trump's nightmare scenario. Not just losing office, but losing legal shield of presidency and facing real prison risk down the line. Impeachment creates formal record of alleged crimes. Prosecutors can use to pursue criminal charges once he's no longer protected. The 7 articles including tyranny charge are comprehensive. The Iran resolution warns of democratic devolution. The draft articles cite specific threats and defiance. Conservative scholars endorse impeachment. Nearly 1 million signatures demand removal. Speaker admits impeachment waiting for 2026. All of it building the case. All of it documenting the crimes. All of it preparing for prosecution. Trump can't stop it. Can't prevent filing. Can't erase record. Can't undo findings. Every resolution adds to criminal exposure. Every charge strengthens the case. Every piece of evidence makes prison more likely. This is Trump fearing prison. As impeachment articles race through Congress, creating the record, building the case, preparing for the day when he loses protection and faces justice. This story continues. Stay tuned.